Okay. Thank you. Would you please sit down now? Okay, thank you very much. Could you please sit down now so we can start? Thank you. Would you two all please sit down? Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the press conference to the movie Snowcake, the opening movie of this year's Berlinale, Berlin Film Fest. And I'm going to introduce our guests to you, and I'm starting from your left. This is the writer of the story, the script writer, Angela Pell. Welcome in Berlin. And next to her, we have one of the producers of the movie, Mr. Niv Fichman. Welcome to Berlin. And next to him, this is Andrew Eaton, one of the producers. Welcome. And another producer sitting next to him, this is Gina Carter. Welcome to Berlin. And this is Emily Hampshire, who played Vivian. Welcome. And this is fantastic, Mr. Alan Rickman. And please welcome Sigourney Weaver. And next to me, this director of the movie, Mr. Mark Evans. Welcome to Berlin. So, I think you must have questions. Yes, there's one. Please wait for the microphone.
Hi, Noah Barkin with Reuters. Ms. Weaver, can you tell us how you prepared for the role? And I'm also curious whether you think this is a movie about autism or just a movie with an autistic woman in it.
Well, I'll answer the second question first, if I may. I think one of the reasons I wanted to do the movie was that it was not about autism. It was about a woman, a very unique woman who also happened to have autism. And I think that's what I found most appealing about it. As for the preparation, it was took me a long time to even understand how to prepare for this part, because every person with autism is so unique, and to find someone like Linda took me a long time. I have to say it was one of the most fascinating years I've ever spent researching this part, and I learned so much, and I met so many wonderful people, and then it was very satisfying to actually get to use it in the part, and I had a lot of help, and I'm very grateful to everyone who helped me try to do this accurately.
Thank you. Another question over there.
Alan Gibbard, SOC Welsh Language Broadcasting in the UK. Some comments to Mark first. Llongyfarchiadau grysog I ti, Mark, ar rhan pobl Cymru ac ar rhan S4C a wedi saith. Ni'n falch iawn o dy lwyddiant di fel Cymru fan hyn yn Berlin, and that won't be found on the translation, I don't think. I'm sorry for that. But the question, Mark, goes to Sigourney Weaver. You use one phrase in the film and refer to you typical people. After your research into the film and into autism, are you any closer in working out who or what is typical?
Is that a question to me? Well, I will answer in Welsh. No, I won't. I wish I could.
You said Yochavaw.
Yochavaw. What does that mean? Long live Wales? Oh. I guess yes and no. You know, what I perceived is that there are problems that are shared by a lot of people on the spectrum. They have those in common. But as for every person I've met on the spectrum, they're completely unique, and I would not want to be in the business of generalizing about this particular condition. That's...
And another question over there.
Laimon Sudis G from Riga, Latvia for Kinopause. I want to thank you for an extraordinarily moving film. I'd like to know how did you prepare, or how did you come across this part?
How did I come across this?
Yeah, how did each of you find this movie?
I found it through him, and I don't know how you found it.
It came to me from Gina and Andrew, the producers, and Mark and I went to meet them, and on some level Angela said she'd written it with me in mind. So it wasn't difficult. You just read it and say yes immediately. Then the difficulty started.
Okay, another question over there.
Hello, everybody. Gregor Wastelos from ItalianTenant.com. This is two questions. First one to the director, second one to the script author, you, Mrs. Pell. I'm here. I'm hard to oversee. I'm pretty big. Here, Mr. Evans, I'm over here.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Sorry. I love the film very much myself. Also, thank you very much. Great opening movie, especially compared to last year. The question is about the use of music in this movie. There's this wonderful chord that you struck. First scene when Rickman sits in the plane, we hear this music. And this is how I read it. All the time when this music appears, something magical is happening, especially with the character of Linda. Could you comment a little bit how this music actually worked for you? And the second question I'm going to answer after that.
Okay. Well, I love music. And so every time I think about a film, I think at some point what the music might be. And we found an already discovered band called Broken Social Scene, a Canadian band, who work very much as a creative, cooperative, together, bringing in instruments and sort of riffing with musical ideas. And how we made the music was we put them in the studio with the film for 9 days. And they sort of became characters in the film, I think, for the period they were making the music. And they produced this feeling of otherness. I think what none of us wanted to do really was to make a film that was a sort of social realist piece or a social issue film. And before starting the film, Angela Pell, the writer, wrote me a little note saying, you know, to live with an autistic person has moments of hell, but they can give you glimpses of heaven. And we wanted something heavenly and ethereal and other in the music. And I'm so glad you liked it, because I think it's just delightful. Oh, I have to also thank Emily, of course, because when I got to Canada, Emily Hampshire, who played Vivian, made me a CD of Canadian music. I also made her a CD of Welsh music. So that's why the super furry animals are in the film also. But there was one track on it, which was the track which ultimately is the dance between Linda and her memory of Vivian. And it sort of became it's Anthems for a 17-year-old Girl, I believe is the original title. And that sort of became a bit of a touchstone for the film, because it had this beautiful, childish, and yet profound, magical quality to it. So yeah, I have Emily to thank for that as well.
But also, Emily gave Mark the tape, and we used this song by Broken Social Scene, which was out, and the singer was actually called Emily as well. So
that's why I liked it.
Oh, it's even more bizarre. So it's very, very right.
My second question goes to Mrs. Pell. I don't know if this is true. I heard somewhere that you actually have an autistic son.
That is true.
Could you comment on how much that influenced the great writing that you delivered with this movie? Because the lines are incredible.
Well, I think living with my son Johnny, the whole film sort of came from that, really. So all my experiences, bouncing on the trampoline, eating snow, that's all down to my son, really. So, yeah. I wanted to write a film that showed that sometimes living with autistic people can be a pain in the bum, but actually most of the time it's really good fun, very enlightening. I hope
Thank
that
you.
answers the question.
Okay, thank you. Another question on the right over there.
Hello, welcome to Berlin. This is Vox News. I have 3 questions. One for Mr. Foster. What inspired you about the script? One for Mr. Alan Rick. How did you enjoy playing your role, which is kind of a sad role? And one for Vivian, the character Vivian. It was a great short role you played. How was it playing beside such big stars like Sigourney Weaver and Mr. Rickman?
Am I Mr. Foster? Okay. I am now. It was just, actually, I have to really thank the producers a lot, because the films I've done before were rather grim and dark and horrific. And this is a film that was a script that was so lovely and redemptive, and above all else had real human beings in it. And I think it's fair to say that the real source of everything that happened through directing and acting and everything was that script. It was very inspirational to read, and I was surprised and glad that they let me have a go at it. You know, it was something that I just wanted to do as soon as I read it.
Well, I don't think he is that sad, really. I think he actually finds himself by the end of the story, and there's a kind of huge release of whatever you want to call his personality, but it's very reactive, and you know, so an awful lot of that is down to the great gift of working with Emily and Sigourney. Sigourney did the most enormous amount of work, which was like a huge present to me, because it was so true and truthful, and so there was always this reference point. You knew you were reacting to something unbelievably accurate. So in a way, I think acting has never been so easy for me. I could just be, you know. I find acting really rather difficult. So, and Emily is in a way the heart of the film for us both, because it's coming to terms with the sudden loss to him and shocking loss of this young girl, and trying to figure out what loss it is to this woman that he's has a relationship with. Everything about it was just new to me, and that's a thrill.
And acting with Alan and Sigourney was, of course, an actor's dream. And more than that, they were just really nice to me, which they didn't have to be. And I mean, I mostly worked with Alan, but me and Sigourney danced together, which was really good.
I have to say that the moment of Sigourney and Emily dancing together was quite late in the shoot, and it was like this presence in Sigourney's character's life that they're never actually in the same scene together, and it was quite an emotional process shooting that dance, because the looks between them spoke volumes, I thought.
I have another question for Mr. Evans. I think you found a lot of comical aspects in a situation that is supposed to be sad, or sad story. So how did you keep this balance between comical and comedy and sadness?
I had these actors, basically. I mean, I think it was in the script, and I think it was just about the actors playing it truthfully, I think, because hers is an absurd world, and he finds himself in an absurd situation. So that was their gift to me.
Okay. Another question? The one over there? Okay.
A question to Mr. Aikborn. I would like to know, you are so accustomed to steal films from the others. How do you feel having Sigourney Weaver steal the film from you?
I'd like to think that acting isn't a competition. I'd like to think we're all in it together. So I don't really understand your question. From somewhere deep in my gut, I don't understand your question.
Are there more questions? Over there on the left?
Caprara from La Stampa Italian newspaper. I wish to know from Mrs. Weaver in which way is changed, if it is changed, the way in which you find your roles now. What is the thing that now is more important for you in choosing your roles?
I think it's. I think it's hard for actors to find projects as wonderful as Snowcake. So it raises the bar, and also the experience of working together in such a tight ensemble and such an intimate experience is something I enjoyed very much. But I think I can only speak for myself, but acting, you have to sort of, set sail and go and see what comes. You can't kind of have extraordinarily high standards or whatever. You just have to follow your gut, as Mark was talking about earlier, and look for something that moves you and that you would want to see and is a story that you would want to tell. And so that's continuous, I think, throughout a career if you're lucky enough to be able to pick and choose what you can do.
Thank you. Another question on the right.
Hello, I'm Anna from Koroške Radio from Slovenia. I have a question for Ms. Pell. I would like to know why did you choose the snow as the main motive, as the main symbol of the film? Is it only connected to Alex's character, like that he finally sees the sun at the end, or does it have deeper connotations?
I think the only reason I chose it was because my son keeps eating it, and I quite liked eating it when I tried it. So that was kind of my main theme. But when we started working on it, we talked about having a Thor at the end, and so it kind of became a bit more so when we actually started working on it. But originally, I think it was just there purely because my son does it.
There's a question in the first row.
For Mr. Weaver, it was very nice from you that you talk about autism as a condition and not as a mental disease. I liked your movie very much, But what was the most impressive experience you had? If I could understand, you were in contact with autistic people. And I think your movie is a way to understand for the society that mental patients are not always, they don't have always to be in psychiatric institutions. Many of them are able to have a family life if there's someone by them to take care of them. What was the most impressive experience you had when you were in contact with them? Supposed to be people who doesn't have contact with the reality. But what was the most impressive experience for you?
Well, I think the world concentrates on seeing people in terms of assets and deficits, and people think of autism as a definite deficit for people. And having worked or been with people on the spectrum for many months, I think that we have to begin to see it as a gift. We may not understand what it's there for, but if you're in the presence of someone with autism, for a long time, you learn so much. You learn how to play. You learn how to see things. You learn how to experience things. And you also learn how jarring the world is. And, so I think it's hard for me to say one thing, but I certainly think I re-experienced learning how to enjoy very simple things. I loved the time I got to spend with, and I consider the people I spent the time with friends, and I know there was a bond, but so it's there's so many misconceptions to me about autism. That's one of the things that I sort of discovered.
Thank you. There's a question on the left here.
I'm Haresh Shah from TV Stars magazine in Czech Republic. This question is for Mark and Angela. What role or why is Maggie's character, which has not much to do with the story, as opposed to, is it just to make the story a little less traumatic or tragic?
I don't know, where did Maggie come from?
I didn't hear the question, sorry.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Just go on talking.
It's not done. Can you hear it? Okay. No. The question was about the character of Maggie. That in the story, Maggie seems to be like a second parallel story going along with the story. which doesn't have anything to do with the main story?
I think when I first started writing it, I imagined a triangle. So there's Alan stuck in the middle of two very strong women, and Linda and Maggie are both two very strong women, and it was she's part of the story. I think I don't think she's kind of she's got her own issues, so I think it all adds to Alan's journey, really.
Are there any more questions? I have one for Mr. Eaton, one of the producers. Can you tell us something about how you got the script and what did you think when you saw it? And did you saw it, read it, and loved it, or how was it?
The script Angela sent. I knew Angela's husband Henry from before. He's also a writer and a producer, and Angela sent me the script. And I always get if someone that you know as a friend sends you their work, it always makes you very nervous that in case you don't like it, and you have to tell them you don't like it. But I thought it was one of the best first draft scripts I'd ever read in my life. And I called her immediately and said I really think it would make a wonderful film. So there was a great story that when Alan first met Mark and Gina, he said a lovely thing. He said, if this was a house, I'd ask you to take it off the market. So that was a nice way of allying himself to the project.
Thank you. So another question to Mrs. Pell, because when the movie ended, of course, I wanted to know what happens after the movie ended. Can you tell us something about it?
No.
Oh, please.
I didn't want it to be tied up nicely, so, whatever. I don't know what will happen to them afterwards.
If you don't know if he comes back or not. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Do you have any more questions? There's another one over on the right.
Hi, it's me again. This is a question for Mr. Rickman. I'm over here. 10 minutes ago, you said you find acting rather difficult. Now, just let me explain where I'm coming from with this. Harrison Ford once said to me, it's just, I go there, I learn the lines, I stand in position, that's it. It's actually very easy. So one could think, people are mean, one could think like, is Alan Rickman forcing himself to act? What do you mean by saying that's difficult? Do you consider it a worthy and interesting challenge, and do you want it to be that way, or could you, say something about that?
No, but if anybody in the room can help me, I'd be grateful.
I have to say, I have to commend Alan. I think one of the things we talked about was that he was going to have to work with the character of Linda, someone who never looks at him or never looks in his eyes. And I have to thank him publicly and privately for being so generous to me, because he really allowed me to get out there as Linda, and I can't think of any other actor who would be so generous to let me do this accurately and never say anything like, I need a little of, he just totally respected what I was trying to do and was always there for me, and we tried very much to always be there for each other, and it was very difficult sometimes because the scenes are complex and they go all over the place, and it was really an amazing ensemble experience for us to have that trust. I felt like we were trapeze artists, and every time I was in the air, he caught me, and I'm so grateful.
It was a luxury, and I suppose to answer your question a bit, I guess as you get older, you realize that the job is to make some sort of honest connection between your work and who you are as a person, and try to understand this accident of being an actor that turns into a choice somewhere along the line. And it's very humbling to, and also it makes a lot of sense of things. I notice myself arranging pencils in a line on my desk. And so, you realize that this spectrum of autism is something that everybody in this room is on in one way or another. You could apply that to all sorts of areas of human activity. So it was very humbling in that sense. So you really knew that you had to make a gift of yourself to the film, not just your technical skills. I'm not sure what... Maybe Emily would, from a different perspective, would like to add something to that, because she's coming from the other end of the age spectrum.
I have nothing to add.
Well, there you go, you see. She has nothing to add, and I talk too much.
There's another question. There was one here. One of you? Okay, so then over there, please.
Hello, Niels from Norway. got a question for Mrs. Weaver. Do you think that you are selecting other roles now than you did 20, 30 years ago? I mean, do you tend to choose a little bit within the same range, or is it very different? Also, I think that you are maybe the actress that are best in portraying strong, really strong women, whether it's Alien or it's Gorillas in the Mist. I mean, is this something you want to continue, or are you looking for other things now? Or,
The question presumes, I think, a lot of control over where one's career goes, which I think is an illusion. I think you're offered certain kinds of things in your, when you're younger, and I actually always felt happy not to get too many girlfriend roles, but I also always wanted to do more love stories, So I think you deal with the hand you're dealt. I have enjoyed life after Alien. I've gotten to do so many different things. I've been so fortunate with the choices that I've been able to make. And but I think, I don't try to now play weak women. I mean, I just try to play women. And I think women are strong, and they hold the world together. And so I haven't changed the way I approach my work. It just happens, I think, now that I'm doing less archetypal characters, perhaps.
Thank you. Any more questions? So maybe, one over there in the corner, on the right.
Hello, my name is Christina from German Radio. A question to Mr. Rickman and Ms. Weaver. Have you already made some sightseeing in Berlin? Is there something you want to see?
I just got here. I would love to do some sightseeing in Berlin.
I hope we're given. We just got here this morning. I hope we're given time. Yeah, Berlin's changing so fast that there were things that weren't open last time I was here that I can't wait to get out there and see. I just hope we don't spend too long in this sort of situation. Then we can go and be tourists.
Right.
Okay, so I have one last question to Mr. Evans. Maybe you can tell us something about the shooting of the movie. It took place in Ontario, is it true? Or where was it shot somewhere else?
It took place in a little town in northern Ontario called Wawa, which Niamh Fishman introduced us to because it was a place he was familiar with. And it had a population of about 3,000 people and theoretically had a lot of snow. But by the time we got to shoot it, the snow had gone. So the good people of Wawa helped us dig the snow out from the lake and put it into Linda's garden.
And it stayed there?
And it stayed there, yeah, more or less.
It was just not snowing, or what was the reason?
It was the spring had come. In a way, I was obsessing about this lack of snow, and Alan was generous enough to say to me a week before shooting, this film isn't about snow, it's about people, it's going to be fine. And I think he was right.
Yes, I think he was right too. And okay, so if nobody has any more questions, I would like to thank you for your interest and thank you all for making this wonderful movie. Thank you.
I was impressed with that goose. Oh. Yeah, I love that goose, and I always remember that. Over here, please.
Thank you. Bye.
Show them a